What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle. My name is Ryan Linkletter, and I'm here with Dan Loya. Dan, this game was really hard to watch tonight. You had to be a true football fan to sit through Steelers and Dolphins here on December 15th because first half, snooze fest. Second half, Steelers absolutely dominated. Tua in the cold weather. I mean, this guy is just not can't figure it out in the cold weather, and it's probably the main reason why we'll kind of talk about Miami's future outlook. But what were your thoughts on this Monday Night Football game?
Yeah, there's only a few more weeks left, so we only got a few more games. We got to savor every Monday night football and any NFL
Facts.
Sunday we got
Maybe
left.
I'm not grateful enough
Yeah,
for
so
these type of
yeah,
games.
because
Maybe I need these
because
gritty, bad games. I need to appreciate.
do you love football, Ryan? Do you love football?
I love football,
um,
but I don't love
no,
bad
I'm just
football.
saying. No, I mean, when in the summer in June and July, you're gonna be like, man, I wish I could watch the Steelers and Dolphins again from December. That's what you're gonna be saying. But overall, dude, it was a close game in the first half. Miami's offense was averaging 5.7 yards per play in the first half. And they were right in this game. It was a 7-3 game going into halftime. But the Steelers were 1 for 7 on third downs in the first half, 14%. And this season they're about 40%. They're ranked 13th. So I was like, that's got to change in the second half. And they came out in the third quarter and they had a outstanding third quarter. They were 4 for 4 on third downs. What did they score? Three. They scored 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns? I didn't write in my notes, but I wrote so they scored right before the half ended, and they scored 2 touchdowns. So they had 3 straight drives, that resulted in touchdowns. That's the first time it has happened this season. So, they outgained. They had 163 total yards in the third quarter, and the Dolphins had -20. They had the ball twice, they went 3 and out both times. 0 first downs for the Dolphins. The Steelers had 9. They were averaging 7.8 yards per play in the third quarter, and that was the difference tonight, man. The Dolphins had a terrible third quarter, and the Steelers ran away with it. So those are my takeaways. I know the game's still going on, but yeah, it's pretty much over there in Pittsburgh. And I'm surprised by the Pittsburgh's offense. Coming in today, I didn't realize they have scored over 27 points 3 of the last 4 games, and they added another outstanding point total tonight. So maybe their offense has kind of found something here in the later weeks.
I'm not going to go that far. I think it's been a little bit matchup. I think it's a little matchup dependent with what Pittsburgh's getting. Here's the thing with the Steelers. Kenneth Gainwell has been a really nice addition to this team. What he's brought to the table alongside Jalen Warren in that ground game and through the air. Aaron Rodgers has found a lot of comfort with that. DK Metcalf has been unleashed the last 2 weeks, and it's made this offense significantly better. My biggest gripe with the Steelers is they just don't have a lot of talent surrounding Rodgers on the offensive line at the wide receiver position. Gainwell and Warren are solid. They're not great. So you kind of get in these situations where if they're not producing after the catch, because this is not really a vertical offense, they don't really perform very well. Over the last 2 weeks, DK Metcalf has elevated his play, and this offense has also elevated their play because of that. And I think Aaron Rodgers playing at this high level right before the postseason is vintage Rodgers going through. He might not be putting up those gaudy stat numbers he used to, but he's been playing really good the last 2 weeks, and that bodes well for this team winning the division down the stretch here. And they might even get a little bit of help this week if the Patriots can knock off the Ravens. That would be a massive boost for Pittsburgh to ultimately hold on to it. But their defense has been significantly better. Today they did everything they needed to. Tua was under duress the entire night. He was uncomfortable. They stopped the run consistently. Devon Achane was held to 57 rushing yards, and that was the key, I think, for them coming into this game is can they slow down Achane? They did just enough, and they had a really nice day, and they made it very uncomfortable for the Miami Dolphins. I thought it was so weird, and Troy Aikman literally couldn't stop talking about this in the fourth quarter, but the Dolphins were literally trying to lose this game, it felt like. They had no sense of urgency when they were down by that much. They were huddling, spending 40 seconds. Miami's on to next season. They went on this little winning streak, right? Their playoff hopes are completely over now. They're just trying to retool this roster and head into next season with a little bit of hope. Dan, let's talk about Miami's future kind of a little bit. What do you see from them today, and where do you think they kind of go in the future with McDaniel, Tua, and that crew?
Yeah, well, obviously McDaniel's a great football coach. He's an outstanding football mind. So I don't know where they're gonna go. It depends on ownership. So I'm not really, in the know with the Dolphins. So they're a wild card, dude. Who knows, man? They could clean house or they could keep McDaniel and Champ Kelly as GM. So it's up in the air for them. Quarterback, obviously, Tua doesn't play well in the cold. You saw his first interception today. He didn't see that corner in the flat. He made a great play, Asante Samuel, and then he kind of threw. He didn't have the arm strength to throw it across the field on a rope, and it kind of hung up there. And the corner made a nice play.
That was
So
a duck.
yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a duck. So, but yeah, just in this winning streak, they were able to run the football. They ran it for 160 yards in 4 straight games, and today they kind of fell behind the 8 ball in that third quarter. When you look up and you only have the ball for 6 plays, you go 3 and out twice, and you look up at the scoreboard and you're down 21-3. You kind of got to abandon that run game, and you're paying your quarterback a lot of money. It's time for him to make some plays. And I know they scored. They got 15 right now, and Darren Waller scored twice, but it's too little, too late for Tua. So that Miami Dolphins offense relies on that running game, but it's hard to stick with it when you're down multiple scores. After 3 quarters. So overall, man, I don't know what the Dolphins do. I know with the loss, they're going to be eliminated. It's tough, and it's on to next season. They're going to have a fascinating offseason what they do with their coach, GM, and quarterback. So buckle up for Dolphins fans, man. It's gonna be a fun ride, I think.
Yeah, and I mean this team committed a lot of money to Tua not that long ago. So
Yeah.
they're kind of tied to him unless they want to eat a ton of dead money with a veteran roster, which is probably not a good plan. I think they
Mhm.
probably give Tua another shot next season. The interesting one for me is Mike McDaniel. He had a really rough start to the season. Clearly, this team found a little bit of momentum on the offensive side of the ball, and they've been playing well. They just have a lot of holes on the defensive side. And I'm interested to see what they do because we've mentioned this before in the podcast. I think McDaniel would be one of the most coveted names in the NFL if he became available this next offseason. So I think McDaniel's a guy to watch for sure. Does Miami bring him back? I'm not necessarily sure. I think they
I don't
might
know.
just do a complete overhaul because it feels like either Tua or McDaniel is going to be responsible for this season, and they committed a ton of money to Tua in the offseason. So it's probably going to be McDaniel that's the fall guy, and I don't think it should be. Tua is clearly the majority of the fault here in Miami, in a large part due to he just doesn't perform whenever you need him to. Like you pay a guy that much money, he needs to be able to perform consistently. A guy that hasn't won a
Yeah.
game under 40 degrees in the AFC, how are you supposed to go and win in these stadiums on the road? They don't have a chance if they don't have the 1 seed and they have home field advantage throughout. So with Miami, they have their limitations with Tua at quarterback, and Tua showed signs this year that he can be decent, but he just feels like a very
Yeah.
uh, he doesn't have a ceiling, right? He's a high floor type of quarterback, and when it's bad, it's bad. So with Tua, it's not great right now. They're committed money to him. They're stuck with him. So I think honestly, McDaniel's probably the odd man out. He probably gets scooped up, and then we kind of see where this roster unfolds. They got to kind of turn this veteran heavy roster into a younger roster with some excitement with it, which is just not what they have right now. So I'm looking for that on Miami's side of things. And then Pittsburgh, like, do you think they're making noise in the playoffs?
Well, it depends. I think they're going to win the division. Look at that. So if they win the division, they're going to host a home playoff game. So I'm kind of like estimating what team's going to be there. If the Chargers have to go there and play Pittsburgh at on the road, Pittsburgh could easily win that game. I think they can dominate them on both sides of the line of scrimmage. But I don't know. That might be the only team that they could be at home. It just depends who they play in the first round, honestly. But like I don't see Pittsburgh like going the AFC Championship or winning the Super Bowl at all. I know they're a veteran heavy roster, but what I've seen for 15, 14 games so far this season is it's not a Super Bowl team. They're just going to be a pain, a thorn in people's sides. Aaron could get hot a couple games. You let him get comfortable. It sucks going to Pittsburgh. It's cold. It's windy. The fans are loud. But other than that's all I see with this team. And I'm curious, like if the division is going to come down to that final game on whatever Sunday night against Baltimore, because
Yeah.
I know Pittsburgh's is going to have a two game lead here after this win, and then Baltimore Ravens have a real tough schedule coming up. So it's going to be it's a tough outlook for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, both have really tough schedules. Cincinnati, that's what I said. Cincinnati, if they won these 2 games, could have made stuff interesting,
Yeah,
but clearly
yeah,
they didn't play well enough to get in that conversation. And Pittsburgh's
mhm,
going to face Detroit on the road. Don't like that matchup at all. They face
yeah. That's a tough game.
Cleveland on the road. Cleveland gives them some problems. and then they have a home game against the Ravens to close it. The Ravens, on the other hand, New England at home, then they got to go to Green Bay, and then they get Pittsburgh. And like you mentioned, the Ravens are one game back right now, and the Steelers hold the tiebreaker as of now. So it's going to be intriguing to see how it goes. It just feels like a 9-8 Steelers team once again. They probably go 1-2 in those next 3 games or something like that. And the
Mhm.
Ravens up finish the year at like 8-9, something stupid like that. And the Steelers get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Average
Mike
Steelers
Tomlin's over
year, average,
500.
literally
Everyone's happy.
average Steelers year. And I do think, like you mentioned, I think the Chargers are that one matchup that they would have to hope for if they do make the playoffs. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it'll probably wind up where they're the 4 seed in the AFC, and they probably get Buffalo, and
Oh,
that's
then
gonna be a
yeah, there's
that's gonna be a nightmare matchup for them,
we already saw it.
once again. And
Yeah.
that I think with Pittsburgh, right, veteran roster, they're gonna play hard. It's they just don't they're not super talented anymore, and their ceiling, right, is not super high. And we've seen this team like just lose unexplainably in these past weeks. I do think the offense improvements are encouraging for Pittsburgh, and it's something that is definitely worth noting. But with Pittsburgh, Dan, it's just they're just okay. They're not great. They're not going to be able to beat a team like Houston in that defense. They're not going to beat Denver in that defense. They're not going to beat New England, who's a complete football team. They're not going to beat Buffalo, who has been there multiple times in the postseason. Like there are better teams than them in the field. I do think, obviously, with this being a more open year in the AFC, sure, they could maybe make the AFC championship game somehow, but I still feel like it's really unlikely given the roster and how many struggles they've had every other week, it feels like right now for the Steelers. So with them, not
Absolutely.
super high. We'll kind of see how it plays out ultimately, though. All in all, though, guys, really quick episode today for this Monday Night Football game. If you have any sort of thoughts, hot takes, drop them down in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Sports Media content, and me and Dan will catch you guys next time.